Hello and welcome, Star Wars fans, to this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot that they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brody, and this week I'm joined again by my co-hosts Christian and Amanda as we attempt to discover what story is truly the best from a galaxy far, far away. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing ranks and hot takes from the Mandalorian Chapter 14. Mwah. The tragedy. By the end of this episode, we'll have a definitive answer on where this piece of Star Wars content ranks amongst the rest. But Amanda and Christian, I think we can both safely say, or all safely say, this episode might be number one. Can we just retire the show?
Well,
This was the best piece of Star Wars content. Boba is back. And can we just stop Star Wars? Book of Boba Fett doesn't have to happen. We all got what we want. We all dreamt of that moment since we were children.
Yeah.
All of us. All of us have had that same dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we got it. We got Boba Fett and wearing the swag today for it.
This is where the podcast was built for. We were leading up to this moment.
The whole show was built for this episode.
If you want another co-host after this, you will have to find someone else because I've fulfilled my purpose.
You're resigning effective this episode.
I've got nothing else to say.
I'm
Unless Boba's back in Mando Season 3.
I'm glad you love it so much, man.
I do.
It's just,
I really do.
it really is a time for him to shine. And he does shine in this in this era of Star Wars.
This sounds like where you're going to say but. It almost sounds like
No, ride that high. Ride that high.
Yeah,
Keep it going.
Kind of sounds
Ride
condescending.
Slave One up into the
But
clouds.
I'll hit you with that.
Your boy sucks. Book of Boba.
But Amanda probably has a pretty good summary for it.
But before we keep going, we're all humans. Christian, you were in Nashville this last week. Amanda,
Yeah.
you were in Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
How are you doing? It was just me and Mike last week.
We heard. Thank you, Mike, for filling in.
Yeah.
You did great, man.
Yeah, you can come back after Brody resigns and
Yeah.
fill in for him.
Please.
I like
do.
what you had to say. I think I'd probably agree with Mike a lot more than I agree with you.
I
on
didn't
air.
like the
Yikes.
Last Jedi slander happening.
Did we do that?
Yeah.
That's just like comes out of my mouth
I know.
naturally. I
And you
don't
guys
even-
were like, oh, Amanda's not here to say something. And I was like, but I'm getting warmed up.
Licking our chops.
Just I hate comment on your own show.
Yeah. Boo, these guys suck. Unsubscribe.
So how were your trips? How was Jamaica?
Oh, it was terrible. It was cold and windy and
Good.
rainy and
Good.
the food was bad and like everything was horrible.
There's sand
So,
everywhere.
Sand everywhere.
Why didn't you listen? It's February. You were on your honeymoon in January. Why didn't you just go to like somewhere nice like Fargo, North Dakota? I don't think we have any listeners there, so hopefully we didn't offend the two people who live there. But
No.
It's a great place to be.
I'm kidding. I like
Yeah.
Fargo, just not in February.
No,
or January.
Jamaica was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was better than you imagine. And
Crystal clear waters.
I mean, it's just so nice to be out of the minus degrees temperature out here where I could be like just in a tank top and not have a single chill on my body.
Yeah.
nice.
Like it brought life to my body. Like my body saw the sunlight again and it wasn't like cowering in fear because it's trying to kill me.
So nice. Christian,
Yeah.
how was Nashville?
It was a good time. Good time. That's a fun city. It was my first time.
Did you ride a mechanical bull? Or a
No,
real bull?
not this time around, but a lot of good live music, a lot of good food, fun people to meet. Yeah, it was a good time.
Did you get a chance to go to Hattie B's?
No, but I was close by.
We saw it.
If that
I
counts.
saw it. Avoided it.
That's all everyone wanted to talk about.
But you had
Did you go to Hattie B's? Are you gonna go to Hattie B's?
But you're like, no, I've had Brody's chicken sandwich, and legend says,
Oh yeah,
why try anything else?
yeah. That's exactly why.
That's it. Thank you. Thank
all
you.
my coworkers are like,
Who's
let's,
Brody?
Let's make this a journey. I'm like, I really don't need to go, guys. I've had the chicken sandwich.
The chicken sandwich.
The chicken sandwich.
Wow. Wow. Well, I would say I'm honored, but you did what you're supposed to do after eating my sandwich. So, no, I'm kidding. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you both had a great time. I'm glad you both are back because Mike and I, it was rough. I mean, he didn't upvote any of my takes, and the comment section was also just lighting me up, saying everything I was saying was milquetoast. So I'm glad I can have some people who just will get in line and be yes people and agree with me.
I think I have a good
That's
hot
what I'll
take
do.
for tonight, so I should break the streak.
Well, speaking of hot takes, what's this episode even about? What was, for the folks who missed out on the best piece of Star Wars ever, what was this whole thing about, Amanda?
So in this episode, following the orders from Ahsoka to go reach out for Grogu to find his own kind, do we know what planet they're on?
Tython.
Thank you, Christian. I'm so glad he's here. No, so the crew goes to Tython, and Grogu reaches out with the Force to call for some help. Meanwhile, the Mandalorian gets ambushed by none other than Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. And they blast through. They create a bond to protect the child, and then a bunch of stormtroopers come and they die.
Yeah, that was their whole purpose.
But Grogu does get abducted by Death Troopers.
Dark Troopers. Yeah.
Dark Troopers. My
Black
bad.
Yeah,
Troopers.
less cool than the Death Troopers.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what happened.
That was, I do want to say about this episode, it's so funny because like now, things change for a lot of folks when you have kids. And when I remember watching this episode, all I could think about was the obvious, if you haven't seen it, the Boba Fett fight scene, not only when he wears the armor is awesome, but then when he is fighting with that gaffy stick, which is shortened, which you also love because like, then you watch the Book of Boba Fett, and the reason why is because, his Mari fighting stick, whatever it was called, and that he had trained with, so he shortened it for him for this. And then you watch the Book of Boba Fett, and you're like, oh, he trained with like a kid's stick, so they made it make sense with the story, why it was shorter. But all that stuff's awesome. Love it. But a moment I never really paid attention to until watching it this time was the opening sequence with Mando and Grogu. And it's the first time I feel like you ever see that Mando's in love. And having kids now, I just saw something I never saw before. And I'm like, he says Grogu. He responds. Nothing. He says Grogu again.
Yeah.
And he just laughs both times. Like, he's like, that's your name. He's like, take the ball. And he took the ball from me. He's like, Dank Ferrick, which means like you are so talented. Like, I love you so much, which means I have to put you before me and give you away. Yeah. And he's talking to Grogu, says, and I also love that he's changed his like how he talks to him instead of, hey kid. This, Ahsoka said, he's like, the nice lady said.
Nice.
The nice lady. That's what he said. He's like, the nice lady said I have to give you away. And you can tell he's like, I said I would do it. So I have to. And you're like, you're talking to yourself. It's the first moment you ever see. He's not just looking out for him. He truly sees Grogu as his son, who's older than him.
That's a great point.
And I was like, this is, for me, the most touching moment of The Mandalorian.
Wow. That got me in my feels.
Yeah.
It did.
It's a great moment for Mando and Grogu. I was kind of getting that in that previous episode when he's waiting by Grogu when he's sleeping in his ship, and he's just like waiting for him,
Yeah.
kind of like waking up. But it is touching, and that's great for Mando too. More of that. We're getting back to the protagonist, that character development, just further deepening that bond too.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
And obviously, like the parallels between like having a catch with your dad,
And he's like, I think Mando is exemplifying what it means to be like a truly masculine man. And it's not just this guy who's badass, who can take, kick butt, take names, all these things. But he's also like now seeing himself as like a father first. And so he has all of this love and all this compassion. But yeah, he still is able to be awesome. But he's got all these other things, and he's not shying away from his feelings for his kid. And you're like, you're a great example. You need to be teaching all the other Mandalorian, all these other macho guys, you need to be teaching them a thing or two of what it means to be a badass, masculine Mando.
Foundlings Class 101.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this was the first episode where I really was disappointed that the Mandalorian doesn't take his helmet off more often. Like
Really?
This one, I was like, I really want to see his face this episode. And that moment specifically, like actually seeing him fall in love with son now, but also when the Razor Crest gets blasted and like incinerated, like I need to see his expression. Like he runs out there, and we all like know how he must feel, but I just would have loved to seen Pedro Pascal's face in that.
I'm with you. That would have been nice.
And I just have to throw it in since we're talking about him. I've been watching The Last of Us, which is also starring Pedro Pascal, and in the video game, a large component is having a gas mask on to prevent breathing in the spores. And they removed that aspect of the game, and you can't help but wonder if that's because, I mean, the man needs to show his beautiful face to act.
Don't
he
mask
can't be
him
behind
again.
another mask in a series. And I'm so glad that they took a different direction with that. And his acting has been so freaking good. But that's not the show that we're talking about tonight.
But another show folks should check out, because the only time I've seen him unmasked was in Wonder Woman 2. And that is
Wait,
not
you didn't watch
something
Game
we're
of Thrones?
No, I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yep.
Wonder Woman 3?
Was it 3 or 2?
I think
The
there's only
80s
been
one?
2, right?
That was the second one I saw with him in it. And it
Oh,
was
okay.
not a
I
good
heard that
movie.
was not a good movie.
It was not a good movie. No.
Too bad this wasn't a movie, because it was great.
Was it great? Because both of you did not really give it a great score.
I gave it a 74%.
Oh,
Pretty good.
I gave it an 89.6%.
Combined with Amanda's 72, we're ending up at a cumulative 78.8%.
I feel attacked.
That's a good score, though, for, just a shorter episode. It's a lot of action.
It is.
Which I think by default, when you slam so much action in a TV episode, it's really hard to give a story just on paper. It's hard to give a story a good score.
You both gave it a decent score, though. You both said
you
it was a 4 out of
trashed
5.
the story, man.
I did.
You need to talk about that. You gave it a 2.7 out
Well,
of
I said
5.
it for the exact reason you said. There wasn't really a story. He goes to say, all right, we need to go. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the reason I think Amanda and I'll let Amanda speak for herself, but the whole story aspect of now we're reuniting Boba Fett, bringing him to the screen, Fennec Shand, and that bond makes sense, and it's really cool that she's indebted to him now. And then they have this plot that ties them into with Mando. They form this agreement that now they're going to take care, or like they're going to hunt after the child. And so there's this A-team now coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool to see how that comes together
Yeah.
and makes sense. And it gets me excited about the future of this show. Like watching it at the time, you're riding that high of, holy crap, we saw Ahsoka live action. Next episode, we're getting freaking Boba Fett the way we imagined Boba Fett. And it's incorporating him into the story, not just fan service.
Yeah.
And so that, I think when you can do something like that for Star Wars, like that's special. And it was cool and satisfying to see that, and hopefully take off with that. But just putting into context, watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the same way, like we had the Dark Troopers teased like a couple episodes before that. So now we're starting to see like the plan unfold, and it's been successful. Like, wow, they actually succeeded in taking Grogu. And then we see, I love towards the end of the episode when we get to see Grogu in the cell. And he's just like playing with the stormtroopers. And Moff Gideon is so sinister in that, where he's just like, yes, look how powerful you are, but now you are so sleepy. That is your weakness.
And it's the first time they've been truly separated since they first met each other, right? Him and Mando and Grogu.
Yeah, other than the first time when
He gives him
back to the client.
Yeah, so it's raising the stakes. I think it does a lot of service for the story, but why did you tank the story?
I mean, all those reasons you just stated are reasons like I give other scores great scores. But in this story in of itself, there's not really a whole lot. I mean, the base story is, okay, we got to get you to this planet to meet another Jedi. And then action ensues, and that's the episode. Like, that's really it. The kid, they get there, and then he gets kidnapped, That's it. That's actually the entire episode. So
Yeah.
I don't really have
I
a
hear
whole
that.
lot of like
Yeah.
love for like there wasn't any great storytelling that challenged stories written before. You didn't change. I mean, you didn't really hardly tell a story. This was almost like a sub story within a movie. So like some like very climactic part, but like again that the story itself was not fantastic. Everything else was. But
So yeah, you gave a couple different 5s. The lowest category I ranked on this was the technical aspects. I gave it a 2.8, and for me, I felt a little like I was getting really picky when I ranked it this way. There was a lot of special effects in this, and I felt like it reminded me of like a show at Disney World, like one of those like action shows where they're
Okay,
like,
yep,
oh look,
yep.
the stunts are going off, and see it's a spark, and then there's some smoke, and then oh we're gonna push this boulder over, and they're gonna go ah, and at some points it felt a little bit gimmicky in that way, but again it's a TV show, so already having as much special effects as they do have is like quite a budget.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I do think that when the stormtrooper, I don't know, transports come in, it looks kind of CGI, like it, I don't know.
Mhm.
That's me being pretty picky though.
I get that. Along those veins, I don't think that the technical aspects of this episode took me out of it that much. The only qualm looking at it, I guess, towards the choreography or the stunts of this whole thing was just the practicality of them missing all of their shots. Like the stormtroopers were almost completely useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every one of them was just dying so easily. And when the guy has the machine gun or the turret,
Yeah.
and he's shooting just the rock that Fennec Shand is running on top
And it's
of.
going,
they're
the
like,
scene is going too long.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, if she's
And
like,
she's running, and he's just shooting the rock underneath, and just to make, he's like, guys, let's see how many sparks we can get. Look at the fire.
yes.
He's like, let's scare her a bit, you know? And
Yeah.
so it was just kind of the impracticality of that. It just, maybe it went on a little too long. And that's where I'm noticing it, because it's nothing new to stormtroopers too much.
Yeah.
But when it drags out like that, it's like, really, these guys could do this all day.
And I mean, you had the other 3 dark troopers you could have sent to the other ones. Like, they sent 4 down.
Yeah.
Really only needed 1.
Yeah, just extraction.
Yeah.
Just-
But I think it would have been nice to have like more of a boss
Mm.
in the stormtrooper arrangement.
Yeah.
Boss fight.
Something
Kind of
a little more
introduced those,
challenging.
like,
Like
what
it
are
had a
those-
mortar strike and like the
Those
machine.
dark troopers were essentially it.
Yeah, but they didn't interact.
I like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mortar
battle.
trooper. He's got the yellow paint color on him, and that was cool. But
Yeah.
But
Oh,
even those effects
those-
also
what-
felt kind of like,
yeah.
okay, it's a smoke bomb. We all know that.
Yeah.
But speaking of effects, I did love when Boba Fett just freaking targets the ship, launches his missile, has his moment of glory.
Yeah, it was finally.
the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great line. Boba Fett has a bunch of great zingers this episode. I think this is finally Boba's like come to Jesus moment. Like he has fulfilled his prophecy of being the chosen one from so long ago.
Yeah.
Everyone had been hoping he'd be such a cool character, and finally he does something cool.
Yeah.
It was
the
so
coolest. The coolest. Like he is the coolest guy in Star Wars. So
Oh, Brody, what did you think when he had his line that echoed his father? He's like, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way into the galaxy.
that alone is enough to give 5 out of 5 stars for Immersive Universe for me.
So
Makes me
when I heard that, I was like, what the heck? Django says, and this is a nitpick, make his way into the universe. Why would they change that word for
galaxy.
his... Yeah. Like,
Hmm.
why not?
I don't know.
That
what-
should be your
I
hot
was-
take.
It like threw me off. I'm like, whoa,
That made this whole
whoa.
thing
What are we
terrible.
doing? What, if you're going to say all of that, why are you changing
It's
it?
been a long time. Maybe not doesn't remember exactly what his dad said growing up.
Every
He
other
sustained
word.
a pretty bad injury. We don't
But
know
he
where
could
he's
remember
at.
99% of those words.
Yes,
Just
99.
the last
Yes. Yeah. You know.
Just the focal point of that sentence.
Yeah.
word. It's just a nitpick, but it was something that
That
stood
is a
out to me this time around watching. I was like, what the heck?
You know,
Why'd
I
they
do
do
gotta
that?
say the Boba Fett theme music, like
Yeah.
with him, like
That was cool.
that was so
dun,
cool.
dun, 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 dun.
Yes,
Uh,
that music got me so hype. I felt like I could run a marathon.
It was so great. It was so great. Yeah. No, Immersive Universe, gave that a 5. I don't really know what more you want. Like they canonized the Mandalorian Civil Wars, which means Jango Fett is the most badass of the three between Boba, Jango, and Mando. Because Jango actually murdered Jedi with his bare hands in those Civil Wars.
I remember you and Mike talking about this last
Yeah,
week.
and I don't know anything about that.
So Django, I agree. I
Is
think
that like
Django's
a comic thing or what?
Yeah, it's just from Legends.
legends,
Okay.
novels, and hinted it. Yeah, but getting back to that subject of those 3 Mandalorians in question, you guys were talking about armor and like your favorite armor. Who'd you say your favorite armor was?
Mandos.
It was Mando. Amanda, what about you? If of the those 3, Mando,
Mando.
Boba, Django. Okay. I was surprised you didn't. Django. I'm gonna have to go with Django.
I can't get over. There's just certain elements that I don't love about Jango.
Django's blue.
Yeah, he's blue.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
got a subtle blue to him.
I just love Mando's shoulders, like the shoulder armor.
Mhm.
It reminds me of like Bionicles that I
Oh,
grew
okay.
up with.
Yeah,
And
and the Mudhorn emblem.
it's
Just
super
the
cool.
chrome finish too.
Yeah.
He just looks like in the chest plate is like actually he looks like built. He actually looks
Yeah.
stacked.
Oh my gosh, that is another complaint I have is the
Physique.
not the physique. We're not going to talk about the physique.
All right.
But that his armor, Boba Fett's armor, looks like it's just like added onto like a quilted like bodice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't love the
Like they just
Raggedy.
like glued it onto something.
That was quite. I think at that time that was quite a risk for them to debut. Hey, put a black robe on and we'll make this work.
No, but I just didn't like how the Boba Fett armor was attached to his body. Like it just didn't look professional.
So it's funny to me, and that didn't bother me too much, but with the armor, and especially concerning Dad Bod Boba, there are a lot of people, and Mike said this as well, who did not like Boba Fett in this because of the Dad Bod, and that's specifically why he doesn't like one of the big reasons they don't like the resurgence of Boba Fett. To that I say,
I don't even think it was that bad here. Like it's not really dad bod I see. It's just
if you're gonna wear,
He's
if
just
I'm gonna wear
shooting
something
people.
super skin tight, my skin's gonna push out a little
Duh.
bit. Like it's anybody,
Yeah.
and it was super tight on him, and he was wearing all of that. Like, yeah, he could have. Tamura's like a thicker guy, but here's my thing: when people tell me like I want old Boba, the skinny Boba, I'm like,
That's messed up.
first off, and I do hear that, but here's the thing: that Boba from the '80s and like Return of the Jedi, that guy's skinny.
Jeremy
Tamura-
Bullock.
Tamura Morrison, if he's running at you, like, you know what? Yeah, if you see an NFL a lineman who might have a little bit of a gut, guys who weigh more are much more likely to run you over. And
Yeah, and
Tamura
they're
Morrison-
scarier.
Tamura Morrison's only 5'7", but he's built like a bulldog.
But also, let's remember when Boba Fett was skinny, he was also bad and lame. So Dad Bod Boba
Is
is
the best
hot
Boba.
and cool.
Dad bod Boba
It's
seems to get
stronger.
it done.
He's definitely stronger.
So I think y'all are hating on the wrong thing.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, you see him a little bit thicker here. So when you see him packing punches like that on stormtroopers,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. Like, if it's skinny Return of the Jedi, think of him. I don't see him, like, I see him using his guns and stuff. I don't see him landing hits, and you buy it.
Yeah,
When
definitely.
he's swinging that gaffy stick, like, it was just, like, it was
Helmet
an
shattering.
awesome, like, just paying a little bit of tribute to his Maori heritage, with
Yeah.
letting him use that fighting style, some of the facial expressions. It was so awesome, and loved that. Loved the music, like you said, the technical aspects. I've got nothing but fives to say for that. That was beautifully executed.
Flawless.
The fact that they went in, especially that choreography, and we brought in the first time ever that form of that Mari dance that he practiced, that he used to do on stage, like got to go out and do that in Star Wars. How many other films in Disney history have honored the Mari people of New Zealand? So I don't think many, if any. Moana is not Mari people. They are Polynesian from the...
But he is the father.
Yes, he is the father.
So they are honoring Tamara Morrison.
They are... Okay.
He got you.
The Mari...
I got you, man. Move on.
Yeah.
Take the loss.
Well, and then the characters. What else is there to say? They were amazing.
More Fennec Shan.
Fennec Shan is awesome. She's kind of... I've come to the conclusion that she's a cool character, but she's either got really bad lines or she can't execute them well as an actress. And
were there any examples in this episode?
No.
That you're thinking of?
No, I'm just thinking as a whole.
Oh,
but
okay.
I like to think it's the lines, because there's other lines that Tamara Morrison said, like,
that are like
this is no spice dream. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
The Empire.
They're back. And...
But the spice dream is kind of like a nod to Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Too, you know?
Yeah.
Which is
we're
also
gonna
cool.
Hint at it.
It's cool that they, at least you knew that when they were making this really good season of Mandalorian, they did have a blueprint for a Book of Boba Fett in mind. And you're like, wow, you were in that same meeting room and had an awesome idea and a terrible one at the same time. That's crazy.
And it's also funny how this Mando episode is totally overshadowed by Boba Fett when the Book of Boba Fett has an episode that is entirely overshadowed by Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But at least the titular character still makes an appearance
in
this one.
Yeah, and comparing like this one, the story still gets a higher score than like the story of that Mando overshadowing Boba. Because this one, I think, does so much better at servicing the story. That's where, the immersive universe. That's what's interesting about this one. The immersive universe and the story are more connected for me, as opposed to
I hear that.
Usually a lot of other, we say fluff episodes with like higher immersive universe scores have lower story scores.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it broke that convention for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. My hand is stuck in a box. You're just going to have to keep the conversation
for
going.
Trivia. Speaking of trivia stuff.
There we go.
The guy, what's his name?
You're looking at me, you're like, what's wrong? I'm like, my hand's
Who
just in a
directed
box.
this? Rodriguez? Was
Yeah.
it Robert Rodriguez?
Yes.
Yep.
So he directed this one, and if you would have told, like, if I watched that episode, and then people are like, oh yeah, he's going to direct 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, I'd have been like, holy crap, I'm real excited for the Book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
And then he directs 3 other episodes, and not that they're terrible. I think
They're
my
not
favorite
good.
Book of Boba Fett was that finale, which he did direct that one, to his credit. But it was like, you did this one, man, but we did 3 others in Book of Boba Fett that were just...
Even the other one, like the last one in the Book of Boba Fett, wasn't great. Like that fight scene.
Right, yeah, compared to this one, I think
outside the
this was
Alamo,
like
take
the
all
best
hits.
one, this episode in Mando's show.
I'm convinced Robert Rodriguez knows absolutely nothing about fighting. Like, I actually find his directing style...
Wow.
Come at him, man.
No, I find his like combat sequences overall, as a whole, I mean, again, there's some really awesome highlights in this that I'm thankful to have. As a whole, I'm convinced he's in over his head and should not, like, they need to take the head coaching job away from him when it comes to action sequences.
Whoa.
No, he's actually, not only is he not good, he's actually bad as a director when it comes to action sequences.
So, we're not saying he's a bad fighter, because he could be a really good
he
fighter.
might fight.
He's just saying he's a bad director.
Hey, look, there's a lot in this episode I liked, okay? I'm not saying as a whole Robert Rodriguez is a bad director, but specifically anything involving combat. Again, I've watched a lot of his stuff with my brother-in-law, who's like, you know.
What other stuff does he do? Robert Rodriguez?
Well, he did the scooter episode, right? Where the guy had like the little spin move that wasn't you remember that?
No.
Remember the
the
cyborg guy?
the colored Vespas.
Yes, that
Yeah.
episode he did.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that we
good
know
action.
has like a very lackluster it's supposed to be an
All right.
intense chase scene, and then you're like,
I'll give
it's
that
not
to you. There's a
working.
point in your favor.
That's all I'm saying. Not only is he not good, he's so bad. He's so like we're gonna really reiterate he is bad.
Jeffrey says that's some opinion.
Oh, it is. That's I'm sticking to it too. I'll tell you what
Oh,
though. Like I
man.
said, he gave me one
you
of the
should
most.
save that for a hot take.
I'm glad I brought this guy up for you.
I'm just saying it did like it actually is so infuriating to
That I
think
feel like you can't give technical aspects
Yeah.
a 5 out of 5.
What are you
then.
doing,
for this
man?
one I am. This specific episode I am. This
So-
was the one time where I was like, you know what?
So you're saying he nailed action in this one?
So it can't be that
And,
bad.
and I can say nailed it because you gave it a 5.
Yeah, you said 5 out of
nail it.
5.
He did nail
So
it.
it can't be that bad.
But you know what? You know what? Every now and again, a blind squirrel finds a nut.
I've seen a lot of blind squirrels, man. Never once have I seen a nut.
First off, really?
Yeah, man.
Never seen one with a nut.
Chronic disease out in the West.
Wow.
It happens.
Wow. There's a lot of questions I have with that last statement. Not enough time on this show.
Just think about it, man. A blind squirrel. Who came up with that saying?
I guarantee you they found a nut.
Maybe that one, the one who could use the
Robert
force.
Rodriguez.
But he did nail. I'll give it to him. I don't throw any shade on Rodriguez as much as you are, but I think he nailed the knee shot way
Yeah.
better in this episode than the the finale.
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Oh, he totally did. Yeah, I mean,
It's like he went out on a home run. He debuted home run for the rookie,
Yeah.
and then
oh yeah, he was like that rookie quarterback they put in the last couple games of the season, and he looks pretty good. But you know, it's like they're garbage games because you're playing like the top 2 teams in the league. Those last 2 games comes in the next season. All the fans want him to start, so he starts, and you realize he's still Drew Lock, and he's not good. And you're stuck with him for a season because you gave him an extension because he played a couple of garbage games. Like this episode overall, it's pretty inconsequential.
I don't know what you're. I'm so confused. Your scores say one thing. You're saying another thing.
I said
You
the
start
story.
off saying like
The story.
this is the best thing ever. This is the whole reason this podcast was created, to be like,
I
it's
feel like
inconsequential.
I'm pulling for you, man.
Wow, we've gone like a whole 360 on this.
I like Boba Fett. Okay.
The story was not great. That's all I'm saying. It was inconsequential in that regard. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I love the episode, but it is inconsequential for the greater. Like, we didn't need 31 minutes of this to get where we were going. Is my point. I enjoyed it. I'm saying it wasn't needed. Just like how
Okay, but
Honestly,
also,
I think if you're
like,
gonna have a
T-
tragedy, have
I
it
think
with some
we
action.
need to.
an accident.
action.
Oh,
I think we all need to like realize that television is supposed to not just always be like grind,
Yeah.
grind. You know,
It's
like,
serialized.
It's meant to be. There's supposed to be ebbs and flows. That's like the art of it.
Yeah, and it's like
It can't just be like the story's going the whole time, because then you're like, oh my god, the characters suck, or like all of like it's a dance, my
I'd
bro.
like to have
Dance.
more story personally in every episode. I
No.
want good dialogue. I want better
the
writing.
story is like he was kidnapped.
yeah.
There was like I would love to be in the writer's room for that one. There was like none. There's like, here's this paragraph. That is the episode.
So your ideal, the tragedy episode.
An
Pick.
hour long
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Loved the opening, as I've said. Like that was the really, when it comes to like dialogue and everything else, that was the best part. And it was Pedro Pascal just taking the lines he had and working with a robot and making it magic. That was awesome. Nothing Boba Fett said was like super impactful. I mean, only one thing that was like even halfway there that helped with the immersive universe was, you know, the whole
Yeah.
I'm just a simple man. Like there's nothing there. Fennec Shan, same thing. Outside of that, like going forward, I think you could have done a whole lot more even without Boba Fett. You don't need more of Boba Fett in there. Maybe, I'm just saying, have some sort of dialogue, have something happen where there's more character building throughout, I would have liked to see. Like Andor did that every single time. Every single time you walked away, just be like, geez, like you really cared about these characters. This was just like this swashbuckling action.
The show, though.
I see what you're saying. You can have your opinion.
I love
confused.
it. I love it
Yeah.
for what it is. I gave it the best score of the crew, but I think it's inconsequential
Sure.
for the greater scheme. Like we didn't need all this to get where we're going. Maybe like 4 minutes.
But we don't know where we're going, assuming this was like the latest we've ever seen of season 2.
How many people are really listening to, like, how many people are really listening right now that have never seen The Mandalorian all the way through? I feel like most
Right.
of our audience
Well,
has probably seen.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. We rank things based off the context of when they
Yeah.
came out. Like
True.
that's all. That's how you evaluate something objectively, is looking at it within its own context.
All I'm saying is he had a great game. I don't want him as a director in Star Wars. As a head director, you can be in the room.
Get him out of
You can watch Jon Favreau. You can be a backup.
Okay,
You
but
can
there's a
learn for
difference
a few
between
years.
directing and writing. He didn't write the episode.
Listen, that's all I'm saying. With this guy, I don't want him in the director chair again after Book of Boba Fett and
Wow.
everything I saw there.
I wish I knew who is directing. And
He's not actually. He's the first time he's not on the list for
Oh, really?
directing. Yeah,
Really?
in Mando season 3.
You know, he voiced Mok Shaiz, the mayor of the Mos Espa, was it, in the Book of Boba Fett? The Thorian hammerhead guy, the mayor,
oh,
know,
yeah.
in dealings with the Pikes.
Yeah.
Robert
Rodriguez voiced him, I think.
He reminds me of, like, who's the guy that did Transformers? What's his name?
Michael Bay.
He's very like explosions.
Hey, don't bring Michael Bay into this, okay?
Big drama.
He
like
is a national treasure.
That's a C-level director. And
Oh,
that's what Robert
national
Rodriguez is.
treasure.
Like both of those guys are at C-tier
Oh,
directing.
far from it. Blasphemy.
Carl Weathers is in there with you.
Hey,
Just-
Carl Weathers he did well, I think, with his episode.
It was
What was it, 2 episodes ago?
wasn't
Yeah.
great. Bryce Dallas
I liked
Howard,
it.
I'd put her as a B.
So we ended up ranking this episode a 78.80,
Yeah.
Which is
which is pretty high
above average, well above average
for a director that
for our stuff.
Brody hates.
I
For
don't
a director that
hate
should
him.
never. But you say he should never direct another Star Wars thing again.
Absolutely not. No.
Not
Yeah,
even a
I'll
movie.
watch other stuff he does. I just don't want him to see him in Star Wars anymore. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And I'm the one who gave this episode a super high ranking. And by the way, there's one of our favorite listeners in the chat there. Hi, KG.
KG, welcome.
So anyway, that's all I'm saying. KG, you just came in on a
About
very
the hottest moment.
the hottest moment.
I like-
We
probably
haven't even gotten to the hot takes.
probably the hottest moment of the season. So
I think I'm at where Julian's at in the comments. He's like, wait, 78.8%.
Yep.
yeah, well, I gave it an 89.6, and I'm the one that's
I think
blasting it.
I think it was a good episode. I remember
You said
when
74,
I
and
saw
Amanda
it for
said
the
72.
first time, and it was like, this is awesome. I'm excited for the future of The Mandalorian.
It's fun.
I'll give you that there's not a lot of story here, but that's something that we didn't really agree on. So
We
I don't
did
even know.
disagree on that.
we thoroughly disagree on everything
Yeah, we
fundamentally.
did. Then we should go into the next disagreeable part of our show.
Yeah, I actually don't really have a hot take tonight, so I kind of just spewed it all out. All right, let's go into hot takes then.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
All right, it's hot takes time. I think we should go with Amanda first because I was just drilling into. And by the way, the comments, we have Jeffrey Miller who says it's almost like you have a personal vendetta against him. What did he do to you? I'll tell you what he did to me, Jeffrey. The Book of Boba Fett.
He did
That's what he
that.
did to me. That's it. That's enough. That's
Oh.
enough. Amanda, what's your hot take?
Okay, my hot take is I think Moff Gideon is a poser That's right. I said poser, which is the worst thing that you can be called when you were in 6th grade. That I was always hoping that I was never a poser.
Absolutely the worst.
But I think Moff Gideon is a poser. And I think so because he wears that dumb chest plate that looks like it's just like a plastic chest plate that's meant to like assert dominance and just be Vader-esque. And I'm like, okay, Kylo Ren gets a lot of hate for having a helmet, but where's Moff Gideon's hate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
it's
posing.
not,
I will say he is perfectly maniacal, but I think he is just, he's good at faking it until he makes it.
oof. I think it's a hot take. I think it's you ruffle people's feathers.
What was it Mike said last week?
Oh,
All I can see is red.
yeah.
No, I can't. I'm so not. There's nothing about that take that ruffles
Really?
my feathers.
Really nothing about it.
Gideon
What
as
do you, how do
formidable.
you feel about Moff Gideon as a villain?
Like I don't think of him much as a villain at all. Like he's not a great villain to me in Star Wars.
Okay.
So whether he's a
So
poser, where he's good at his job or bad at his job, I'm like, you've done nothing successfully, really. I mean, you abducted the child.
So you kind of agree with me.
You're horrible. Like you don't even like all of your guys, like they'll bite their own tablets and kill themselves. Maybe
Yeah.
that was just a generic practice with the Empire, but obviously every stormtrooper that works under you has no idea what they're doing. Like that first season, you have this big cannon, and you've got all of these guys that are all getting laid waste by Cara Dune, Mando, and it's just in Carl Weathers.
So you agree with
Hey,
me?
but he laid a direct hit on the Razor Crest. You don't normally see that from the Empire.
He did have a tracking beacon on it.
He did have that.
I'm just saying.
KG agrees with me.
Yep.
KG does agree with you, and I agree with you too. But I'm not ruffled, so for me, it's
Oh.
milk.
This is interesting because I also agree, but I do think feathers are actually no wait. Feathers are ruffled. It's a hot take. I disagree because I'm still fooled into thinking he's a formidable opponent for now. But it is funny you brought up the chest plate, and it's like that's not helping you breathe. What's
Yeah,
it helping you? Your
yeah,
digestion system, like digestive system, like what's going on there? But no, when I watch him, and credit to, what's his name, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, such a good actor.
I think just credit to him. He convinces me that he can be that villain, and with the Darksaber or whatnot, I don't see him as a poser yet. I disagree with you, but it's a good hot take.
All right. Well, because the comments, you downvote, I said milquetoast. The comments agree, and it's this tie. It goes to Amanda.
Yep. So we have more contestants agreeing than not.
Yeah,
So there you go.
I love that. for me.
Winning by popularity.
Yeah.
All right, Christian.
Okay, hot take, something provocative. Here we go. Let's stay on the subject of Moff Gideon.
Ooh.
Moff Gideon and his first assistant to the regional ISB
Yeah.
officer. I'd ship that. That's a good relationship.
Oh.
They should be a Star Wars couple.
Wait, who?
Mm.
Moff Gideon, who?
His right-hand
Woman.
woman.
That's funny because I was just thinking, based on Moff Gideon's pencil mustache, that he's definitely gay.
I don't even remember the scene.
I think the subtle messages that he's sending her and the messages she's sending back to him suggest we're not just here to talk about work.
Oh. Don't let
Christian.
HR know.
I am HR.
So what do you think? Is it a hot take?
Are my feathers ruffled?
Is it a hot take?
It got you guys both to, like,
KG
there was a
can't even
gumption,
picture
like
it.
a reaction.
Well, man, I don't know.
I'm going to say no.
I'm gonna say milk
It's gonna
toast.
say
Ah.
toast.
I'm gonna say milk toast. So,
You
all right.
You don't even agree?
Your take is milk toast.
Well, I think I said a lot tonight, so I don't think I need to dive too deep into this. But
Yeah, you are.
do we want to just agree or disagree? I don't care. What I said tonight was not,
boil it down to one sentence.
It was a hot take. There's no milquetoast here. Robert Rodriguez should not be allowed to direct another Star Wars TV show or film.
hot
I
take.
think it's a hot take.
Oh, that is. I know that.
I disagree.
And I also disagree.
All right, and we know why.
I got a bad feeling about this hot take.
I love, like, why is there, like, an Ewok in that?
Because why not? Because violence.
Okay.
That's why. I mean, the Ewok didn't die.
I know. I was watching this time to
was
see,
just
like,
there
does he
for the
also die?
explosion.
No, his eyes just go like, whoa. I thought he was gonna get like frozen, like some like nuclear waste or like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I thought about it. I kept it safe for the family. But if you're not watching the YouTube series of this, you're missing out on these amazing overlays.
Yeah.
I have already said this one before. I think I did on the show. I did say that this was the most badass moment in Star Wars history.
yeah.
Right. I think I've covered this before.
I think so.
Is that your hot take?
I mean, I can say it again. Did we agree with that or disagree with that?
I don't think.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot take because it's not like.
It's a personal.
I don't think you're gonna
preference, right?
offend people saying that.
I feel
or
like the
ruffle
only thing people
people's
would be
feathers.
like maybe Rogue One's hallway scene with Vader. I think it might be the only thing people would argue for over Boba Fett fighting the stormtroopers here.
I think Anakin had quite a bit of BA moments in
Really?
Revenge of the Sith.
I love
Yeah, when
Rey
he's like,
when she. Oh my gosh! In Rise of Skywalker, when her and Kylo are like, and she does the
Yeah.
flip, dude. That's so cool.
slices the ship.
That's the first time I've ever heard that sentence in my life. I love Rey in The Rise of Skywalker when she.
I'm just calling
Hey,
a spade
there
a
are some-
spade.
there are
It's
some cool
cool.
I was wow. All right, first time I heard that sentence. All right, well I guess we can put that out there. So we just disagree with that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we already played the soundbite, so we
yeah,
just
it's
put it
not.
on there.
It's not a hot take.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that said, it's time for the last segment of the show. Force Ghost Charlie. What time is it? It is trivia time. And Amanda's got the question cards.
I sure do.
All of them.
Yeah. Where were the Hoth sequences filmed? Is it A, Norway, B, Denmark, C, Iceland, or D, Greenland?
Could you repeat that again?
Yes. Where were the Hoth sequences filmed? Was it Norway, Denmark, Iceland, or Greenland?
I'm going to say Norway.
I was gonna say Norway.
It is Norway.
All right.
Yes. Look at us.
Directed by your beloved
Okay,
Irvin Kershner.
then I'm going to ask another question that you should know, but I'm not going to give you a multiple choice. And the question is, who played Boba Fett originally?
Christian knows.
Oh, I said it earlier.
I know.
Oh,
I already forgot. Anyone pre-Attack of the Clones is
who is it, Christian?
Jeremy Bullock.
Yes,
Very
that is
good.
right.
Yeah.
I have trained you well.
Yes.
I guess you were paying attention.
Yes. I almost said Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Dude, I just learned that Jeremy Renner got his leg cut off the other day.
His leg got cut
Yeah,
off?
he got his leg amputated. Someone at the resort told us that.
Oh, no.
I thought that was just rumored.
No, she said it to me like it
Hold
was
on.
real.
Why are you smiling?
I just because it was like the most random thing I ever.
Oh my
Like I was on
God.
my
It
honeymoon.
was a bad
and someone was
snowmobile
like,
accident.
Oh yeah, didn't
No,
you hear that
snowplow
Jeremy
accident.
Renner
Sorry.
like lost his leg? And I was like, whoa.
No way. I heard he was recovering. It was okay. No way. There's
yeah.
no way that's real.
Yeah,
no
because
way.
they were recommending.
No, he's fine. Look at that. They lied to you.
You
It was
know
a bad
who
accident.
was? You know who had to amputate their limb? Anakin. A number of
and,
times.
And Luke.
and Luke. Amputations
But
happen.
you know who didn't? Jeremy Renner.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks. Thank you guys.
What an episode it was.
Thank you guys for sticking around and having fun with us as we enjoyed or didn't enjoy this episode.
Yeah, don't share this with Robert Rodriguez, okay?
Yes,
Please
please.
don't. I don't need him
My
to send.
money is on him.
If he
to kick your
sends,
butt.
Yeah.
well, if he
Yeah.
sends Jeremy Bullock, we'll be all right. If he
Hey,
sends Dad
he's-
Bod Boba, I'm toast.
We can't. Jeremy died, okay?
Yeah, wow.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Come on.
Hey, maybe is this as much as he died, as much as Jeremy Renner's leg is cut off?
No.
No, man. Jeez.
Man,
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
us canceled.
Well, I don't know. What, we can't talk about dead people now. He's died.
I do think Jeremy Renner's leg is gone.
Well, you'll have to
Well-
stay tuned until next week when we reveal whether or not he has lost his
We're gonna have
leg.
to. If his leg is gone, we have to cut this whole thing because this is.
No, man. This is good for the fans, good for the listenership.
It's good for the controversy.
It's our current event segment of the show.
If his leg is cut, we cut the segment. If his leg stays, so does the segment.
Okay.
I say leave it in there. Leave it authentic for the viewers.
Be real. You're not gonna get that with ChatGPT. You're not gonna get this leg insensitive humor.
We support people of all abilities.
We do. Oh, we do. That said, that's this week's episode.
Yeah.
So whether you are listening, you are watching, however you are checking out Duel the Ranks, thanks for doing so. We are so excited to be able to have the opportunity to engage with you if you listen to our live sessions. On top of that, if you're going to be going to Star Wars Celebration later this year, be sure to contact us. We'll be there. Love to get a chance to meet y'all in person. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Otherwise, go to dueltheranks.com. If you want to see more information about our show, go to our TikTok. Just Google us on your favorite thing. We're probably there, maybe. Just check it out. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode, and we look forward to seeing you next week when we come back and we talk about The Mandalorian Chapter 15. See you then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his leg's gone.
You got a good feeling about Duel of the Ranks? Then punch it down below to subscribe so that you never miss our latest ranks and hot takes from a galaxy far, far away. This is the way to some of the best Star Wars content out there. So, do or do not. There is no try, but do yourself a favor and do it.